Hello, and welcome to a tutorial on how to install a virtual machine for the University of Texas at Arlington CSE 1325 course. Today, we will be going over the installation of the virtual machine's interface, the actual virtual machine installation, setting up in a shared folder, some tips and tricks to working with a virtual machine, some common errors, as well as some errors specific to Macintosh computers. There are about 4 general steps to setting up the virtual machine on your computer. First, installing the VirtualBox, then installing the university's virtual machine, then importing the virtual machine, and then sharing a folder with your computer. The whole process could take up to 2 hours. Additionally, I will show some tips to using the machine itself and also some common errors, including getting into your BIOS and how to turn virtualization on within your computer. Lastly, I will show some of the specific errors that happen on Macintosh computers. The first thing you'll need to do is install the Oracle VirtualBox that will allow the OVA file you download to run and to manage your virtual machine. You're going to go to www.virtualbox.org/wiki/downloads to get to the download screen of Oracle. There are 3 options for either Windows, Mac, or Linux, and in this case, since I'm using a Windows computer, I'm clicking on the Windows option. Since this is installing the wizard that will install the actual program, you will need to click the Run option that shows up when you click on the page. From there, it will take a minute for the wizard to open. Once it does go through the wizard, install VirtualBox to your computer. Once the Oracle VirtualBox has installed on your computer, you must now install the OVA file. First, create a folder on your computer to hold the file. For the purposes of this video, I made a file on my desktop. Once you have the new folder, you can install the file on your computer. For CSE 1325, the Google Drive link has been included in the description of this video. If you want to run your own virtual machine, there are many resources on the internet where you can download different OVA files. Once you get to the Google Drive page, press the download button and save the file to your newly created folder. The download of this file is the longest part of the process due to the fact that it is 2 gigabytes of data. Depending on your internet speed, it could take from 15 to 30 minutes. So sit tight and make sure your computer doesn't shut down during the process. If this happens, the file will cease to download and will not work in Oracle. After you have downloaded the file onto your computer, you must import the file into Oracle. Open Oracle and in the upper right-hand corner, click on the File tab. Then, click on the Import Appliance tab that is second from the top. Once you've done that, a menu will pop up where you can locate where the file is by clicking on the little folder button with a green arrow to the right of the menu. After locating the file, click the Next button between the Cancel button and the Export Mode button. This will take you to the application settings. Here, you must change the RAM setting to 2048 instead of 1024 if your computer has less than 4 gigabytes of RAM. Then, you'll need to check the Reinitialize MAC address button in the bottom left-hand corner of the menu. From there, press the Import button and agree to the terms and conditions. Make sure you read those terms and conditions as well. The importing process should take about 5 minutes. Once you have imported the file, an appliance by the same name of the OVA file should show up in your VirtualBox menu. From here, it is time for us to set up a shared folder. This is so that the virtual machine can talk to your physical computer. First, you'll need to create a folder on your computer to share to your virtual machine. As you can see, I created a folder called My VM Programs, but be careful. Make sure your folder doesn't have any spaces in it. If it does, that will lead to a lot of headache later. Now, back in Oracle, click on the appliance to highlight it, then press the orange gear labeled Settings. In Settings, click on the Shared Folder tab and select the small folder button in the upper right-hand corner below the banner. Find your folder and then click the Auto Mount box below the folder choosing banner. Then press OK. Now, double-click on the application in VirtualBox to open it. This might take a minute or two to load. Once it is loaded, double-click on the terminal to open it. Now, we have to put in some commands to set it up. Type in sudo space apt-get space install space virtualbox dash guest dash utils and then press enter. It will ask for a password, and all you have to type in is student student to get to the program. This will make a bunch of text show up in the terminal. From there, you need to add yourself to the VBox SF group by typing in sudo space usermod space -a space -G space VBox SF space student. Then, you'll need to shut down your session by typing sudo space shutdown space now. Reopen the VM and you should see the folder show up on the desktop of the VM. Right-click on the folder of the VM's desktop and select Open in Terminal. From there, type ls and verify that your VM can see the files in the folder on your desktop. In my case, I already had a test file in there, but to add one, you can right-click on the folder in your computer's interface and select Create New Text File and name it. Then, type ls into the terminal once again to verify its status. Now, pat yourself on the back because you have downloaded and set up your virtual machine. Here are some tips and tricks for you to remember while using your VM. You can change keyboard commands by clicking the Input tab on your VM and then the Keyboard menu. Then, click Keyboard Settings. From there, you can change all the key bindings to whatever you wish them to be. Also, never close VirtualBox while a virtual machine is running within it. This is like pulling the cord out of the wall for a desktop computer. Bad things can happen. You can also take a snapshot by clicking on the Machine menu item, then selecting Take Snapshot. Then, give your snapshot a name and a description. The VM will dim periodically while a snapshot is taken. Here is one error you can get during the installation process of a VM. The VM starts up and terminal session in VM starts, but running sudo apt-get install VirtualBox guest utils stops halfway through and asks if it is okay to use more disk space, and then continues but displays a bunch of error 404s and does not install correctly. Follow-up usermon command does not work, therefore shared folder does not work. Here's the solution. In the VM's terminal, do this command: sudo space apt-get space update. Then rerun the install guest utils command and then follow the rest of the instructions. Here is another error. Oracle VM is set up, but after hitting the start button and the VM is starting up, it seems to get stuck. The solution is to open your BIOS and find the virtualization settings. In the virtualization settings, you need to enable virtualization. Opening your BIOS and the location of the virtualization settings is different for each brand of laptop. You'll have to figure out what the virtualization settings and how to open BIOS on your own. Here is a Mac-specific error. When you're running the install of Oracle VM on a Mac, it errors out in the middle of the install. To solve this, you have to give the program higher permissions, so after running it once and having it fail, do this. Press System Preferences, Security, and then click Allow, and it will twirl to the bottom of the page. Then, just run it again and it will work. This concludes our walkthrough of the virtual machine process. Have fun and good luck!